At this point, I don't understand how not only Americans how they take this guy seriously, Joe Biden as president, but also how the whole world. Clearly, there must be a correlation between his presidency and Vladimir Putin deciding to do what he did last month, a few weeks ago in Ukraine. There must clearly be a correlation because this guy cannot be taken seriously. He came out again, spread lies about his childhood because he's so defensive about his track record in terms of the economically and the energy crisis and everything else in America. He came out to talk about gas prices. He blamed everything on Ukraine and Russia. Not that he's been printing money and spending money and the whole thing started, the rise in prices before Ukraine. No, clearly that's not the problem because he remembers his family and his childhood about the experience he had as a child.
I grew up in a family where when the price of gas went up at the pump, gas station, we talked about it at the kitchen table.
What? What?
I grew up in a family where when the price of gas went up at the pump, gas station, we talked about it at the kitchen table.
So, okay, that's what they're talking about. Sure, because he's been told that because that's what people do. A lot of families do that. So he's like, oh, that's what families do? I'm going to pretend that's true. He was born at a time when clearly everything that he said is nonsensical. Do you know why? Because we got the evidence. Smelly Joe was born in 1942. And so if you talk about his childhood, but towards the end of 40s or early 50s or whenever you want to talk about, look at the graph. Every type of stats that we have when it comes to oil prices in America, you can see that literally until mid-70s, it was flatline and it was very cheap. I'm not really sure what price increase he's talking about, because by the time that happened, he was a grown-ass man. So he's talking nonsense. Everything he says about himself, his background, and everything, all the stories that he's got is based on lies or benefit of the doubt. He doesn't know what he's talking about anymore. He doesn't remember what he was like when he was growing up, because he's getting orders and all the comments by his PR team. People coming up with all these stories say, Joe, you should go on stage and say this in case they attack your track record. Just like how he's now coming out and say, inflation is not my fault, even though inflation was already happening under him. And despite the fact that Donald Trump was part of the beginning of the lockdown days, even that wasn't, and also before all the other crises we were having, the rate and the impact was never this bad. Joe Biden lies.
So I'm sick of this stuff. We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is government spending more money. Simply not true.
He is sick of this.
So I'm sick of this stuff.
You know, it doesn't really matter how much outrage you show, fake outrage, crocodile tears, or whatever you want to do. Nobody believes you. It's all based on lies. And I'm glad that all this stuff is coming out, because even left-wing media outlets, the likes of CNN and those guys, even they can't defend him anymore. So even they're being forced into a corner to actually say, oh, we're going to have to scrutinize White House for the first time ever since he became president. But it was a fun one. So I thought that we finished today's video updates on all the shows and all the doom and gloom with a bit of funny nonsense from Smelly Joe or Sleepy Joe or so many comments, so many names. But thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for all the support, especially when it comes to our 6 p.m. new daily show called Disrupt. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.